Right, so if you have a Hyundai Genesis sedan and you want to make a custom-made intake, this is pretty much part of my intake systems by Spectre. The tubing that they sell is universal tubing and elbows. You can custom make your own. And these are the couplers that I've been had on there. What I did today was, that right there is a PVC valve. I drilled a hole in it. I glued it so that it's nice and neat. Waiting for it to dry right now. But basically what that does is that prevents the oil from backfeeding into your intake and then covering your sensor all in oil. I'm going to post more videos as I'm building this. I already built this before, but I decided to make it better. So this is practically step one. What you're going to have, Spectre filter. This is my intake temperature sensor, which is the MAP sensor. For the Genesis, that's how I did it. Mounted it directly to that. You know, these are the two holes for the factory air box that you can just unscrew right out. That's the plug. I did have to extend the wires out. You don't have to. You can do something simple, but I have to go above and beyond. And this is gonna sit right where the bumper is. That's already tight. This is already cleaned as best as I can get it for now. Once I get it in the car, I'll clean it a little better. But that's what we got going on right now. So this right here is a regular piece of hosing that I got from AutoZone. I cut it to where I needed it. Got a couple of clamps. This is going to go from the valve cover. So that fit in right there. Now that fit in right there, that glue right there, you don't have to paint it. But when I'm done, I'm just going to go over it with some black paint just so that you can't tell that I glued it on there and it looks a little better. Then I'll show you more in a minute. So this is the idea to my madness. That's the hose right there, clamped down. This is where the hose go to. That's where the valve's gonna connect to. That's the throttle body. This is the wire that I extended and taped nice and neat. And that's gonna go all the way down there where the air filter is gonna sit at. There we go. Alright, so now basically I just painted it. I'm gonna wait that to dry a little bit. Still a little bit tacky, but once it dries, then it should look pretty factory and you won't tell that it was glued on there. So I'm gonna let that dry. Probably let it dry up here for a little bit, close to the heat, so that it dries up nice and good. And then I just got back from Home Depot. Had to get a couple more clamps. And then when I'm done, I'm going to show you how I built this. But basically what I did was, and you know, it doesn't apply to every vehicle, but I know if you do have a Genesis, it's going to apply to you. So this right here, that first elbow, that's going to be a 45. That's going to be a straight. And then I believe I have one more straight, then the mass airflow sensor, and then the filter. And then whatever clamps you're gonna need, including the cufflinks. I think mine took a total of 2 cufflinks. No, it took a total of 3 cufflinks. That's it. But once she dries up, then I'm gonna take the bumper off and I'm gonna put her on the car. That I use to hold that PCV valve in place, I use plastic bonder, high strength, structural adhesive. Fully dries in 15 minutes. This is what I used. Resealable. Looks pretty good so far, drying up. Doesn't look all messy. So once it's fully hard in about maybe more than 15 minutes, maybe like 20-30 minutes from now, then I'm going to install it on the car and then I'm going to tighten it. I don't want to take the risk of having that PCV valve fall off. But that's how she looks. Alright, there you go, all finished. That's how it looks. The whole PVC valve. That's how the intake looks. Goes all the way down there. And that's the cooler intake right there. So all you're doing is sucking out nothing but cold air.